HighLevel has a new feature release that allows you to easily import items from external blog sites directly into the blog site on the HighLevel platform. So this is something that really people have been wanting to have for a long time, because moving websites is not really that hard right now. You can rebuild a website fairly easily, but blogs with different links and then stuff like that really requires a lot of work. And this tool makes it very easy to do so. I actually stumbled across this on a recent project that I was working on, where I was migrating my own personal site, rayodaniel.com, from WordPress over into the HighLevel platform. This was a really great tool for me to have, and there are some things I want to make sure that you understand that happened during this particular process, because this is a new feature release. So it's not 100%, but I mean, it probably is 90% of what you need. So anyway, you'll understand what I mean here in just a little bit, but let me first get started by just explaining what I was doing and how this whole new process works within HighLevel. So right now, this is the original site that I had with WordPress. I was using WordPress because at the time there were some things WordPress does that are better than HighLevel. Yes, there are some things that you can do with plugins and things like that gives it additional value beyond what typical HighLevel sites were. But for this particular site, what I've been moving this to, I don't need WordPress anymore. So right now, WordPress is a little bit of an extra cost. Not that that's a big deal, but rather than have to deal with WordPress and keep updating the plugins and updating all this other stuff, it's just easier for me to just forget about WordPress, cancel that particular subscription, move everything over. That's what I did. So I spent a little bit of time. I actually used the website AI feature, which that I'm going to be talking about that in another video, but HighLevel has released a new website AI that will actually build this. And in the other video that I have, I'm going to try to link it here in this description. But what it actually does is you can actually tell it to go out and look at a certain site, give it a URL, and then build a prompt using ChatGPT that will pull like all the graphics, pull all the logos, pull all the stuff into a HighLevel site, making it very easy to migrate. Because if you could pull that site in and have the website AI feature build all that for you, why not do that? It'll get you 80, 85, 90% of the way there on a migration status, and then you just have to fine tune it. So anyway, that's what I did for this one, and I ended up making a lot of changes. I really made this sort of very basic, but let me show you. Inside, so here I actually have this blog. Now, I do like the way WordPress actually handles blogs. I was using the Cadence theme here, and I do just a nice sharp way it looks. You've got the featured image, the headline, you've got when it was updated, read more, stuff like that. You've got this article about the author and all the socials. It's really good the way it's set up, and HighLevel is not set up that way yet, but it could be in the future. So for me, what I wanted to do is I've got about, I think it was a little over 80 articles that I've written on the WordPress site, and then migrating that would have just taken so much time to copy, paste, make sure the links are good, and then make sure all the headlines and the things like that. This is like headline 1, headline 2, H1, H2 tag, things like that. So that was really nice to bring all that stuff in. So what I ended up doing here is moving this to just, this is the Ray O'Daniel site, very basic site that I have created and updated on the HighLevel platform. So basically it's just intro to my course, blog, just learning about AI. That's what I focus on here. I help my affiliates help start AI businesses. And by the way, guys, if you like this video, if you think it's going to be useful, smash that like button. It really helps me out. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're going to be sharing this with anybody. But here's the site. And basically, if you click on the blog, it takes you over to the blog site, which again is a basic blog site. Again, it works. Everything still works. You still have the search engine optimization. You still have all that other stuff. And the migration tool really brings over a lot of information. So speaking of that, this is overall, I had to make 3 tries on this when I initially did this. I'm going to let you guys know. So I'm saving you some time by giving you the inside scoop here. But I had to pull my blogs over 3 times to make sure that I got things right, because I was trying to be too clever in the beginning. And I'm going to give you guys a little helpful hint about what not to do when you're moving your blogs over that can mess up all of your links that you currently have. So anyway, let me move in here to HighLevel. So if I come in here and go to sites, and I come over here to blogs. Now, this is going to be about creating blogs. I'm not going to go into the details of all of this stuff. I'm just trying to show you the new migration tools that are in here that allows you to pull things from WordPress, I think Wix, and then some other sites that were on here. But let's go ahead and create a test blog here. So I'm just going to call this Ray Test Blog. I'm going to choose a domain. I'm just going to use my blog domain. I'm not using that right now. Blog, and then create. So all this does is just creates a placeholder for you to start creating articles. Now, later on, this site can be accessed directly through the blog.rayodaniel.com/blog if you want to go to it, but you can also integrate this using the blog element inside of the HighLevel websites. And I'm going to show you that a little bit here. as soon as I get done with this, but let me at least get through this. Here you can go through if you want to edit the actual blog site. Just real quick to make it any different, I added a headline on mine. But that's pretty much all this is just one element that has the blog articles on it. So there's where you can edit that at to make this, to add a headline here if you want to add that. But here under new post, you've got the new post, which I'm not going to go over, but you've got this. Let me see if I can blow this up. Import blog post from URL, which is what I'm going to do here. And then import blog post from CSV. I'm not going to do that. That's a little bit more time consuming, but I will tell you if you want to do it that way, which I don't really think you would need to because the URL is much probably faster to just let it do that. But if you did want to do it through CSV for WordPress, you would have to go through and create and get a plugin. That plugin would have to be export post your blog post to CSV, and then you could use that to bring it in here. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to simply use the URL. So now, before, a couple of thoughts there, sorry about that. But to set up your import, it's just going to ask for the blog homepage. Now, I'm going to use this. I've got several different domains with Rayo Daniel. This is rayodaniel.co without the M for com. So rayodaniel.co, that's the new domain I put on the blog for right now. Now, here's the problem. Remember I told you there was a problem that I tried to be clever with before? What I tried to do is I tried to move the rayodaniel.com site from the WordPress site, okay? I moved it into HighLevel. And then I removed it from WordPress, and then I added a new domain for rayodaniel.co. Now, I thought this would be really clever of me, so that way when I go through the WordPress site and import all of the links, they'll import directly into the rayodaniel.com domain because I've already moved it over. Problem with that is the way WordPress works with some of its internal blog linking, depending upon how you set your links up, your links can then be set to rayodaniel.co in my example. So what that means is that all of the links and all of your articles are going to be broken if you try to migrate this to rayodaniel.com. Okay. Now I'm using these two domains are pretty close, but you can imagine what you're doing if you're using one domain for WordPress, another domain for HighLevel, and then migrating them. My advice is to leave the root domain. This is what I had to finally do to make this work right for me. I had to move the rayodaniel.com domain back to WordPress where it originally was. Then I had to do the import into a WordPress blog site. Okay. That way, all of the URLs, the links inside of the blog post still pointed to the correct domain. And then once that happened, then I could do all the domain switching after that. So hopefully that makes sense. That's where I got mixed up, and I eventually had to do this again. The third time's a charm on this one, but that's what I had to do. So don't do what I did. Just leave the domain in place, migrate all of them over here. Now, here's one of the things I found interesting about this tool. So I'm going to come here and put in the root domain here, which is just rayodaniel.co. Now, there is one rule with this. The rule that you have with this to make this work is that you have to have a sitemap file in your website. Now, you might be asking me what a sitemap file is. I can go into, it's an XML file. It's just a file that keeps tracks of every page and things on your website. But I don't need to do that. For the most part, WordPress, Wix, a lot of the major people already build these sitemaps for you. But all I'm saying is if you don't have a sitemap file, you'll get an error when you put your stuff in here for the root domain. Now, HighLevel sees that this has a sitemap file, so there's no problem. Now, the next thing it's going to ask me here, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit, make this easier to read. So, blog homepage, then it says recent blog post. So this is where I have to come in here, and I think this is the most recent. So it just needs a recent blog post that you put in there. So I'm going to copy that, come back here and paste it. So there it is. Now select the platform. Right now there's WordPress, HubSpot, and then Not Sure. I haven't tested Not Sure, so I don't know. Right now I did use WordPress. Now here's the one thing about it is that it will pull this up inside this little browser here. I thought was pretty nice. So it actually shows you the blog post here that I created. Now what you're going to have to do inside of here, if you take a look, there's a couple steps. This is the setup and import. Let me blow this up some here. Then we're going to have to map the content. This is the most important part of bringing all this stuff in, is making sure you map the fields correctly. We're going to go over that. And then finally publishing the posts. Okay. So right now we're going to go through and expand it back out. We're going to go ahead and click continue and go into the next map content area. So now that you're in the map content area, the import, whatever this migration wizard, whatever you want to call it, is going to ask you some questions. So you need to look at this article source right here in the preview pane and answer some of these questions. So if you can't see it, let me blow this up a little bit. What is the title of the blog post shown in the preview? So right now, revolutionary, blah, 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 there it is. You have to take a look at it. Notice that they're slightly different. I'm going to choose the first one because that's what the title is. It's not the title dash Rayo Daniel. It's not any of this other stuff. So it's just the wizard wants to make sure that every blog post that it looks at it can pull the right field and then map it into HighLevel correctly. So that's what this is. And there's several of these. So the author, who is the author? Right now, the author is me, Ray O'Daniel. Hey, we don't know each other. I'm an affiliate for HighLevel. If you're looking to get signed up, I have a 30-day free trial. That's my quick plug. So now let's get back in here. So right now, publish date. If you want to do the publish date, you have to select it. Just choose a particular value. Now the mapping knows what field to look at for that particular import date. The featured image, we're going to just select one of the featured images that we have here. Move on. Now it's going to ask you what's the content of the body. I'm going to select this one right here. Yes, it looks good. And again, you see, this is pretty easy. It just wants you to confirm it. Now, here's where the categories, I noticed the categories don't really come over very well. If you create categories of different product types inside of a WordPress site, they don't really come over too well. So you might need to create your own categories here, but I have one here for HighLevel that I'm going to put this on. And then finally, if you have any tag or keywords, I'm going to just say tags or keywords aren't displayed, so don't import them. That's my thing. You might choose something different, but now that you've done all that, what you want to do is click continue. Now what it's going to do is going to be sitting back up in here and it's going to be scraping this. Now, while this is working, one of the things I found interesting about this is there is no security in this whatsoever. Notice all it asks for is give me the root blog, give me the latest blog post, and then boom, it pulled them all in. Guess what you could possibly do with this? Now, I'm not going to do this on this video, but you could possibly pull in blog posts from another blog site. All you need to do is just simply go to the blog site and get the root blog, put it in there, and then go get the latest blog post, put it in there. Because again, if you took a look at it here, there's no security. There was no logging into the WordPress site that I needed to do with. Why? Because blogs are public. So right now, this tool can literally go out and pull in any blog site that you want. A customer's blog site, a competitor's blog site, whatever you want. You could pull their blogs in, change it, modify it. I'm not telling you to do that now. But you could. So anyway, right now, this does take a quick minute. One of the things I did find out about this is that it doesn't refresh very well for this one. So I did have to come back here sometimes and refresh it. So that could just be just the tool itself. It just wasn't made for that. Now I'm going to give you another gotcha here that took me 2 support calls with HighLevel and about another hour to figure this thing out. Every time I kept trying to load the blog, this particular blog in the blog element for the HighLevel website, which again, I'll get to in a minute. But every time I kept doing that, I kept getting this really weird error. And I couldn't get it. I was moving stuff around. I was just like very frustrated with why does the import thing not work? Until I finally found out that this import wizard pulls one blog article that is really not an article. And that one blog article, probably if you do this too, you'll get it too. So I'm going to show you how to find it. But you'll have to go into on this screen and delete it. Otherwise, it can mess you up later. Anyway, just want to make sure that you knew that. So here's all the different blog articles. Now, mine was like down here at the very end. And here's what it was. This sucker right here. Oh, I was so frustrated with this. Finally found it. I was looking through all my articles and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't have an article called blog. This is just the blog site. So this is where the problem kept being at this particular one right here. And I don't know if this will happen to you, but whatever it is, just delete this sucker. Okay. This right here, just come here, click on it, delete selected post. Now that thing is done. Now all the other stuff can be imported and used fine. You won't get any of the errors. Man, did that take me a couple of hours to figure that out. So anyway, I'm going to come back here to this one. Right now, unfortunately, there's not a select all on this one. Kind of sucks. So if you're doing this, you're going to have to go page by page. But overall, it's not going to be that bad if you just come in here and select them. I'm not going to go through all of them just to save you guys time. It's probably boring. And I'm going to delete this thing afterwards because this is just a test. But as soon as you do that, you can just simply click on, of course, you're going to go do all of those. Because if you take a look here, you see all of them, map post. You're going to come here and just say import selected. And then once you do that, now all of these information is going to be moved in. Notice with the blog post, if you take a look, here's all the posts. Okay. Here's the imported content. So if you ever want to go back, you can see that it was imported from that site. Import completed. If you did the CSV import, you'd have that CSV import here. So that's pretty cool. Get rid of that sucker. Not sure why that popped up, but let's just refresh here, pull the screen back up. So now if we take a look here, go back to this, notice that we have a total amount of blogs completely. One of the things about the thing is it doesn't really tell you how many one has versus how many other. It'd be nice to have a little, this blog right here has 50. This one has the remainder, something like that, but it doesn't. But right now, this test blog is what we've created. And then if we take a look here, we notice that here's all the articles. They are published. They're not in draft mode. So they are available. And then they were brought in by the importer. So they just show as import. If you want to click on this, you can open this up and see the in particular article for this one. Now, the cool thing is it does pull in the featured image. Everything got mapped correctly. So some of the images right here didn't get pulled across correctly. Some of my buttons in WordPress didn't come across because I was using certain types of custom elements in WordPress. So anyway, it's not 100% perfect, but just to pull everything in and allow you to just have it, man, it's a time saver. You notice that only potentially took 5 minutes to do all this. Now, let's go back to the area that I was talking about here and look at a particular site. We'll use this thereodaniel.com site. I'm not going to worry about stuff like that for right now, but just notice that this is I'm just going to refresh. Notice that this is the blog that we have right now. If you wanted to, you can come in here. Notice that there is a blog element right here. So let me just show you what that is real quick. You come over here to plus, scroll down, or you could just use if you want to search for blog right here, if you already know it. So here's the categories and navigation. If you have a lot of categories and you want to be able to just select groups of posts by categories, you can use that one. I do not. But if you want to, you can just click this thing and drag it over. And notice that now there are two, and they're different views. This is a column view, or this is a standard view. And I've got this. I like the compact view myself. I just like it better. So that's what I'm using. But I'm going to click here. And notice one of the things we've got is we can select what blog we want. So right now, if we want to come down here to test blog, we see that it's right here. If we want to select all the posts, all that stuff is there, and just simply publish. Now you do have to sit back and publish it. And then I don't know, may or may not work here. Let's take a look. Great. So now we see we've got one blog article. These are the ones for the test blog that we just imported. These are the same. And then we have the other ones that were on the site here. So we see that this is really where pretty straightforward on how to bring all that stuff in and move the blog articles over correctly. So I'm going to just simply remove this because I don't like this myself. And I'm just going to publish this so I don't mess anything up. But ultimately, this is all there is to it. Now, there were a couple caveats. Hopefully you did learn a few things. Smash that like button if you learned something. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions about this. But I thought it was a pretty good tool. And it's actually a fairly new release to HighLevel that they just released this. And I just happened to need it right when I had this. So I figured, let me create a blog over some of the problems and experiences I've had to show you guys how to not do that, to make this part go a little bit faster for those people that are migrating or want to migrate things over. And keep in mind, it's not just for you. You could do this for yourself. You could also do it for a client. If you're also building websites, make sure you check out the new website AI Builder. I'm going to show you some cool stuff about how you can build custom prompts in ChatGPT for both doing prospecting as well as doing that. That video should be linked here or in the description as well. But it's pretty cool that HighLevel came up with this. And if you combine that with ChatGPT, you could use and create custom sites. You can pull in your customer site and recreate a site directly in HighLevel using the AI feature. So you don't necessarily need a migration tool. It is pretty good. And you'll see in that video that I'll do that as an example. But anyway, hope you learned something. Thanks for hanging in there with me and have a great day. Bye-bye.